This 25-point buck trophy is Ernie Smith's prized possession. Smith, once an avid hunter, spends his retirement days on his 31-acre farm near Grant. Smith is also an animal lover, with cows, goats, and sheep all pastured together. But it's his herd of white-tailed deer he's most proud of.
Come here, dear. You hungry? Come here. He's kind of hungry, I believe. Come here, boy. Come on.
How can you kill these during hunting season and have them as pets?
Well, it's not all that easy. I don't hunt as much now as I once did, you know. I do go out once in a while. I hunted for so many years, you know what I mean? It's kind of hard just to cut it all off, but it makes a difference. It really makes a difference. I haven't killed all that many. I just go out, like get out.
With a state permit issued by the game warden, Smith has had his deer for about 5 years. Practically all of these were born right here. For Smith, it's a satisfying experience just to walk among them.
Well, I just like animals as a whole, you know what I'm talking about? I just enjoy watching the movements and their actions and what they do, and it's nothing like what I've been told, read, or a lot of times on a lot of things. I found out a whole lot about them.
Even though Ernie Smith probably has more deer right here in his backyard than he could ever want, he's still looking forward to deer season and getting another trophy buck. In Grant, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
Saturday in Aniana, this man, all 270 pounds of him, was the equivalent of a Mike Tyson and Hulk Hogan. Rodney Frazier was the defending moon pie eating champion of the world.
What's going to be your strategy to win this?
I don't know, probably 18. I don't know, if I can eat 18, I'll, but I got a big competition out there,
Rodney was one of several scheduled to compete for the coveted title at the 4th Annual World Championship of Moon Pie Eating at Walmart in Aniana. But before the heavyweights began their competition, the preliminary eat-off had already begun. Walmart manager John Love started this exciting event when he over-ordered some 22,000 moon pies 4 years ago. And naturally, having an employee like Rodney Frazier certainly helped get rid of them.
Well, I described Rodney as a 270-pound, romping, stomping, 100% genuine moon pie eating Alabama country boy that loves moon pies like a hog loves slop.
4, 3, 2, 1, 0, go!
Rodney's #1 threat for the title was supposed to be 360-pound John Reynolds of Atala. Everyone else was practically ignored as the two super heavyweights tried to break last year's record of 15 double-deckers in 10 minutes. When it was all over, a dark horse had won. David Dunn of Arab had scarfed down 13, while Rodney and Reynolds tied for second with 11.
Well, it wasn't exactly the culture event of the year, but folks here like defending champion Rodney, it was an event of a lifetime. Well, right, sorry you didn't win.
That's okay.
Here's a moon pie on me.
Okay, thank you.
In Aniana at the Moon Pie Eating Championship with the ex-champion. I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
Okay, thank you very much.
You're welcome. See you next year.
All righty.
You think fast?
Yeah. Let's just get up going to town. Going to town.
What's the name of this?
Going to town. We don't go to town much, but we go to town.
I'm going to town!
When it's time to go to town, no one does it better than the Possum Gum Stump band from Aniana. The Possum Gum Stump Band, which is two brothers and a cousin, have been making music together for more than 50 years. Saturday, they were entertaining the folks at Walmart in Aniana.
What do you think about this band?
I think they can't be beat for the old country Hoosier. Been here a long time.
How would you describe y'all's music?
I don't know why. You can get in the country. The hillbilly, way back yonder.
Way back yonder.
Old time, it's, yeah.
No, they've never been nominated for a country music award and probably never will be. But they do have an album and a few loyal fans like Jack and Mary Sue Hazelrig.
I enjoy hearing them play.
How good a band are they?
They're real good.
Real good.
Yes, sir.
You like to dance to them?
Yes, sir.
What makes you such a good dancer?
I don't know. I just took it up.
Just took it up.
Yeah, I taught myself.
Taught yourself? You like this band?
I sure do.
They the best?
They sure are.
When it comes to making music, the Possum Gum Stump Band here is ready and raring to go. Go where? They just ain't sure. Hit it! In Aniana with the Possum Gum Stump Band, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. I guess they ought to be on the June Jam next year. You got all there.
Sometimes your skin gets so dry you can actually scratch the word dry right on your hand. Now that's dry skin.
62-year-old Marty Raines is one tough cookie. That much you know by just looking at her. Miss Marty operates the First and Last Chance beverage store near the Whitesburg Bridge in Huntsville. She's been in the beer and nightclub business most of her life.
Hi, buddy. How you doing?
I'm going to 6-pack of Coors Light, please.
All righty.
Make sure.
You going to work?
Yes, I'm on my way to work.
Well, it's just a little down-to-earth job. You meet down-to-earth people. And I get kind of nervous when I meet uppity-up people because I don't really know whether I know how to act around them or not. But this is people that come in and trade with me, they down-to-earth people.
Miss Marty not only operates her beer store, she also lives in it. And she claims she doesn't need much money, just enough to keep her in Switzer Sweet cigars, a habit she says she took up with about 25 years ago.
Smoking a cigar?
Enjoy it. If I didn't, I'd quit. It's better than taking nerve pills, I'll tell you that much. I don't like taking pills.
It's not very ladylike, is it?
Well, I hadn't thought about that. I like the taste of Swisher Sweets.
Taste of what?
Swisher Sweets.
Like the taste of them.
Mm-hmm. I don't, the others I can't handle, they're too strong for me.
The Switzer Sweets then?
Yeah, I'm a sissy when it comes to the stronger cigars.
Miss Marty operates her beer store-home at 8 a.m. and closes around midnight 6 days a week. Sundays, she likes to roam.
Marty Raines admits she can be a pretty rough lady at times, but she's just a big sissy when it comes to a good cigar. It's Switzer Sweet or nothing. Give me a light. At First and Last Beverage Store in Huntsville, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
No, it ain't that bad.
Well, it's television though. It's television.
Is it scary?
Yeah, a little bit, I guess. It's, it was scary at first when I first started driving, but I guess, I do it about every weekend someplace all over the United States. I was in Topeka, Kansas last weekend.
You probably don't know Bill Carver from Kansas City, but he's sort of the Hank Williams Jr. Country Music's Entertainer of the Year of his sport. Carver is the driver of the Coors Top Dog Car Crusher, and wherever he goes, he tells about the same old story.
One tire and wheel weighs 1,000 pounds. The cost of one tire and wheel is about $3,500. It's a 454
Carver and the Coors Top Dog are in Huntsville this week, taking part in the Coors Motor Spectacular Mud Circuit event at the Civic Center this weekend.
What do you feel like when you're driving this thing? Are you some superstar nowadays, or?
Oh, I don't know. I guess in some people's eye I would be, but myself, It's just like going out and putting on just like an entertainer, a music singer or anything like that. I just got a job to do, and I go out and I try to do the best job possible that I can.
The 13,000-pound, 754 horsepower, $100,000 Chevy Coors Top Dog only crushes cars. Bill Carver doesn't like to get it muddy.
This monster truck ain't exactly no Spuds McKenzie, but it's the top dog for Coors, and that's really all that matters. And don't forget, it'll be in action Friday night at the Civic Center, crushing cars. In Hustle with the Coors Top Dog, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
Have a little trouble cranking it this morning?
Yes, this frosty morning it was its usual stubborn self. It did not want to crank.
Jesse Cupp of Albertville has been doing radio interviews and writing newspaper columns on things that relate to the good old days since 1950. John Brookshire Jr. of Guntersville in his 1923 Model T Ford just happened to be on the cover of Cupp's first book, The Good Old Days, a collection of stories about what life was kind of like growing up on a one-mule farm during the Depression.
Well, the good old days are pretty much what we make them in our memories. The things that I write about have a lot to do with growing up during the Depression, before we had electricity, before we had much of anything out in the country. We grew everything that we ate practically, and we made our clothes out of fertilizer sacks or whatever, wore overalls. They were hard times, but there were a lot of good things we remember about them. Times weren't so rushed, and people visited their neighbors and helped each other out. And there were a lot of good things about it that we like to remember.
It's like an old mule. If you work it too hard, it'll just take out of it.
Life was a tad bit simpler in the 20s and 30s when Jesse Cupp was growing up, and since a lot of us aren't quite old enough to remember them, it's nice to read about them.
There are some things about the good old days that folks like Jesse Cupp would just as soon forget about, like going to the outhouse, chopping cotton, plowing with a mule, and milking a cow. You know, thank goodness those days are gone. In Guntersville with Jesse Cupp and his new book, The Good Old Days, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
40-year-old Susan Galpin is somewhat of a strange woman. She practically built her 1,000-square-foot solid oak shanty herself a few years ago after her husband died. Today, Susan spends the biggest part of her time on her 5 acres on Husky Mountain in Morgan County with her dogs, automobiles, and her traveling companion, Erdis. Erdis is her BMW motorcycle that she's ridden more than 100,000 miles the past 2 years, enough miles to earn her BMW's Long-Distance Rider of the Year. But don't think for a second Susan Galpin's your stereotyped female biker.
I think the reputation of being a biker still has a good point, because it's pretty valid, because nobody's going to mess with me. They don't know whether I'm, one of those black leather belt, karate champions, or any woman that's going to ride a motorcycle as much as I do can take care of herself, and it seems to be pretty evident that you can.
Are you kind of strange?
Oh, yes. Yes, I am. Now, it's a truthful fact. I'm a woman, and I'm a very strange woman. But I want a man that just absolutely adores women. I don't want somebody, that looks at me like I'm their buddy. And why do I ride a motorcycle? It's like meditation. And when I'm out there on the road, there's nothing but me and the elements.
Susan Galpin may be a little different, but as long as she's aboard old Erdis, she doesn't care what people think. She's on top of the world. On Husky Mountain with Erdis and Susan Galpin, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
By here, about twice a week, year-round, fishing right through over. And every year I said, well, I'm going to have to bring my wife over here and see these.
Is that the first time she's been over?
Essie Bunch of Union Grove is accustomed to having lots of company, especially this time of year when her yard is full of color.
A lot of people stop in here?
Oh, yeah, there's a lot of people from everywhere. You know, they hear visiting people from Huntsville and all, you know, and they'll come over here. And they come from Mobile, Montgomery, and, well, like I said, Tennessee.
What do they say when they get out? Or why do they stop?
They stop to take pictures and just look. Make out like they never had seen nothing like this before, but I know they have.
What do you think about this place?
Oh, it's lovely. It's beautiful.
So what did you think first time you saw it?
Oh, we just had a fit over it. That's it.
It's worth going like we did 50, 60 miles out of the way just to see it.
For the past 20 years, Essie Bunch has practically dedicated her life to her yard. Miss Bunch also has cancer and decided this was her best therapy because year-round, she's got something to work for.
Yeah. I spend more money on flowers than I do anything. My husband said he'd give me money to buy me some clothes, so I'd go buy flowers. I said, well, they're a whole lot prettier than clothes anyhow.
Essie Bunch is the first to admit that keeping all this up is a lot of hard work, but well worth it. And if anybody's got anything to give her while she's still living, please give her flowers. In Union Grove, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
Over here, this is where I usually keep the time cards.
Okay.
Y'all keep yours locked up?
No.
Ben Battles retired earlier this week after more than 30 years with the Postal Service. The past 2 years, Battle has served as postmaster at one of Alabama's smallest post offices, Valamosa Springs.
It's 19, one is 20. Thank you.
Folks at Valamosa Springs have had a post office well over 100 years. This tiny 294 square foot building has housed the post office since 1956. Small, yet plenty big enough. What's it like operating a big post office like this one?
Well, it's a super job. Super job over here. Stay real busy. Oh yeah, well, it's a full service office. You can get any mail service here that you desire.
What's the Maxwell House coffee can on the back door over here for?
That's to catch the drain from the air conditioner.
Oh, air conditioner.
Yeah.
Not too big. Well, it's big enough. All you need is just put a letter in. Don't take very much room for that.
So you like it?
I love it. I love this little post. I was raised right over here at Valamosa Springs.
For those of you who might want to mail a letter from zip code 35775, the post office is located on Highway 36 in Morgan County.
There's some good news and some bad news about this tiny 294 square foot post office. The bad news is it ain't going to be here a whole lot longer. The good news is the folks here are getting a brand new post office 10 times as big. In Valamosa Springs, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
84-year-old Samantha Cisco of New Hope knows what it's like to work for a living.
You ain't dipping no snuff today, are you?
Yeah, got it in my mouth.
You like that snuff?
Oh, yeah. Used it since I was 7-year-old.
You used snuff since you were 7 years old?
Yeah, and now I'm 84.
How come you start so early? You ain't never been lazy, have you?
No. Wasn't allowed to. My daddy cut the blood out of me. I plowed with turned land, hauled logs, 4 mules and everything.
Don't you get tired out here?
No. Ain't no need getting tired for doing it. Just have to rest and try it again.
Every year at this time, Miss Cisco and her 91-year-old brother Calvin can be found outside the old home place raking and burning leaves. It's a chore Miss Cisco does herself, cause to hear her tell it, good help is just plain hard to find.
You can't find nobody to rake leaves?
No.
What's wrong with people?
They won't work in the pie factory. Had a job of tasting. Too lazy.
Sorry, too.
Yes, sorry, and hard down lazy.
Is it worth all this? I mean, having a clean yard?
Well, sure. You like would you, if it's your yard, would you let it lay this way? No, you wouldn't.
Mrs. Cisco realizes she can't rake leaves forever, but she's determined to rake them just as long as she can, or until people quit being so lazy and sorry and she can get some good help. Is that about right?
Yeah, no count. There ain't no count.
In New Hope, raking leaves with Miss Cisco, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. You want me to help you some?
No.
Here's a chicken salad white all the way. Chicken salad meal lettuce only on honey grains.
Leo Matthews claims he was born with a special touch when it comes to making sandwiches. And for those thousands who have eaten one of his homemade sandwiches, they say it's true.
Look, what do you like about Leo's Deli?
It's like a homemade sandwich.
Leo Matthews, who worked since he was 8 years old at Harold's Market on Meridian Street until it closed several months ago, was known as a lunchtime legend for his homemade sandwiches. 3 weeks ago, Leo had a dream come true. His own place, Leo's Deli.
Well, then what makes you so good at making sandwiches?
Well, it's just something that was gifted to me, that's all. That's all it is. It's just God's gift, that's all. He gave it to me to make a good sandwich. And that's all I can do. I do my best.
You make a good one.
And that makes it better when you do your best.
Leo, along with partner Larry Ayers, offer a complete line of homemade sandwiches. If they don't have what you want, they'll get it.
Like let's see, I'll make a bologna and cheese, please.
Oh, customers like Jim Black are just glad Leo's open again.
I come over here to get some of Leo's sandwiches. They're real good. They're fresh. They're just the best you can get anywhere.
Leo fully expects to make 500 sandwiches a day at his Jordan Lane location. But when it comes time for him to eat, he's had it with sandwiches.
I make too many. I go to Crystal's.
Leo Matthews may have changed locations, but the taste of one of his sandwiches is still as good as ever, if not even better. And you name it, he'll make it. At Leo's Deli, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. You got that South Meat jelly? Just the way I like it. Mmm.
You want me to water a dog?
59-year-old Scudder Smith of Mentone lives in a world of almost constant barking.
Here, girl.
You ever get tired of hearing all that barking?
I don't. I hear it so much I don't even hear it. I don't register. They bark so much I don't even think about it barking.
In what was a former chicken house, now serves as a temporary home and training camp for some 40 top hunting dogs under the guidance and training of Scudder Smith.
It goes over his head and strapped under his belly.
Scudder, because of a knee injury that prevents him from walking a lot, for the past 5 years has been conditioning his dogs for bird season in a rather unusual way. It's a way, however, that the dogs get plenty of exercise.
Have to scoot over and pull that crippled leg in. I get out pretty good.
Scudder's 1985 Ford Ranger moves by dog power rather than horsepower.
Is this good exercise for him?
Yes, sir. Best in the world. It's just like a human lifting weights, pulling on something all the time, you know, like a gut buster or something.
So this is good exercise, good conditioning.
Best conditioning a dog can get. My wife said if I was as patient with grown people as I was with dogs and children, that I'd be a fine guy.
Scudder and a team of 6 usually make the 3-mile journey through the back roads of Mentone twice a day 6 weeks prior to the opening of bird season.
Scudder Smith, better than most, knows what it's like to work like a dog. But to hear him tell it, it ain't all that bad. In Mentone, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. This is what you call being dog tired.
Put a choke on it. Give him some more. Let me help him.
For the past 50 years, this 1920s 10-horsepower International gasoline engine has been part of the Richardson family of Limestone County. Dennis Richardson, whose grandfather a half-century ago operated a public grist mill, at times grinding 8,000 pounds of corn a week into meal. These days, the grist mill only operates a few days each year, usually grinding some 500 pounds yearly. Dennis Richardson claims you just can't beat it.
What people did 50 years ago, what they eat the meal for? They eat better then than they do today when it comes to cornbread.
Years ago, when Cecil Richardson and his dad ran the mill, you could get a bushel of meal for only 50 cents. Today, some folks won't even eat home-ground meal.
A lot of people won't eat home-raised meal. Why? They claim it's not clean.
Home-ground meal like this is not exactly Martha White self-rising, and Melba Richardson will certainly testify to that.
It ain't no self-rising, is it?
No. It's plain. You have to add everything to it.
You just won't find good old-fashioned fresh ground cornmeal in any store. But if you could, Mr. Richardson here says you'd love it. She said you wouldn't. Is that right? In Good Springs, I'm your country rover. Is this made with this? Jamie Cooper, you ain't got any pinto beans and sweet milk going on there, have you?
Tony Goggins and Jim Connors are two guys who are really into the Christmas spirit, and they should be. It's their job.
Joy to the world, the Lord is come. Let earth receive her King.
Goggins and Connors, employed by the city of Fort Payne to provide Christmas spirit in the downtown area, stroll from store to store a few hours each day, spreading the Christmas cheer.
Dashing through the snow in a one-horse open sleigh. O'er the fields we go, laughing all the way.
Whatever you recommend. Okay. Theirs was real soft.
He's making a list, checking his watch. I'm gonna find out who's naughty and nice.
Customers like it?
Yeah, they seem to. A lot of them sing. Some of them hide. Little of both.
It's the one gift that I love to give, and I'm proud I'm able to give it. It's a song to everybody that comes along.
Frosty the snowman was a jolly happy soul with a corncob pipe and a rusty nose and rising out.
What happens is after a few hours your feet start hurting. You go in the store and you start singing a song and you forget about all your pain. That's what Christmas does for you. That's what it does for everybody.
Jingle bell time, snowing and blowing, jingle bells square. Now the jingle hop has begun.
Downtown Fort Payne may not be the North Pole or the Boaz outlet, but when it comes to the Christmas spirit here, the bells are ringing and the people are for sure singing. Hit it! In downtown Fort Payne with Tony Goggins and Jim Connors, and your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
All the way. Oh, what fun it is to ride in a one-horse open sleigh. Hey, jingle bells.
Joanne Smith is chief surgeon, head nurse, and top maintenance person at the town of Flintville, Tennessee's only hospital, the Doll Hospital. Joanne is known across the country as the Dollsmith, and her patients, some missing arms, legs, and even heads, are dolls that are in need of mending.
Arms coming off, eyes falling out, heads falling off, bodies reworked, you put new bodies on.
So you just kind of do a little bit of everything?
Everything. Most of them, there's nothing about them that can't be fixed.
For 10 years, Joanne has been in the business of doll repair as a full-time job. She not only repairs dolls, she makes some of her own. Plus, she carries a full line of Barbie and Ken clothing that she makes right here at the hospital. But dolls, no matter what shape they're in, are all very special.
A lot of them now are the older dolls, 50 years old, say. And a person has a lot of their childhood invested in that doll. Most of them bring back memories of, you know, happy days, childhood. That's what dolls are to me, childhood.
Joanne Smith may have never gone to college to be a doctor, but when it comes to mending a doll, she holds a master's degree in love. At the Doll Hospital in Flint, Tennessee, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Is that about right, Davy?
He won't wear his dentures, you noticed. Especially that other plate.
Billy Peppers is an artist with a flair for the old rather than the new. She's the creator of Old People Dolls.
There's enough pretty dolls and beautiful dolls and cute dolls in the world. I couldn't improve on them at all. But I'd never seen a doll like mine. And I love the old people. Ever since I was a kid, I remember loving them. And they're fascinating to me, the old people are. Especially the men. I don't know why I love them men the best, but...
Billy made her first old person 8 years ago from a bucket of gray clay collected along the mountainside near her Etowah County home. Today, Billy, in her Old People Gallery, is very near completion of number 500.
And I've created some that I didn't like, and I've destroyed some. What I'm working for, Jamie, really is to get the public to see what I see in old people. The love. Let the soul come shining through. If life's been good to them, it'll show.
2 years ago, a major doll maker, Fibercraft, purchased the rights to Old People. The dolls can be found locally at Hammers in Gunnersville.
I mean, I was honored. I'm really honored. But if these dolls don't make it, it's my tail on the line, you know. Good, bad, or indifferent, I'm the one that's hanging out, you see.
Billy Pepper's old friends probably remind you of someone you know. And the older they are, Billy says, the better they are, just as long as they ain't dead. Near Boaz, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. You know, you look an awful lot like my grandfather.
Had our chores, and we knew to do them, and we didn't go in debt.
I went to school in Gunnersville, and I couldn't go to school when I first got old enough. My mother taught me at home because...
2.5 years ago, Mary Hughes Norrell and Mildred Pennington of Gunnersville never really realized it, but they were becoming part of history. Miss Norrell and Miss Pennington were just two of the many who gathered informally to spin yarns of yesteryear to Burton Troop, who had high hopes of writing a book entitled Only Yesterday.
So in your purse, Mildred, she has an extra one. I believe I've got it. Oh, thank you.
Sunday, Mildred Pennington and Burton Troop were basking in the limelight of penmanship, as were some 20 or so others who had also written chapters in Only Yesterday, as they all gathered for an autograph party at the Gunnersville Library.
Daddy tried to get down on paper just some old stories that he had told over the years and have them read on paper just the way they sounded when he told them.
Randy Troop had helped his dad rewrite and edit portions of the book. Others, like Miss Dewey Hammond, were just tickled to death to be in it.
And what page are you on?
94. Oh, boy. I buried some secrets in that I never thought I'd tell people.
Sunday was a grand day for everyone involved with the book, whether they wrote something or just knew someone in it.
That's it, Granddaddy Cowan. Yeah. And then he's over here in this picture.
You feel famous, man?
Oh, I feel like a celebrity. I may ask people to start calling me Mr. True instead of Bert.
What better authors of Only Yesterday than those who lived it? And as you can see, they're already living the second edition. In Gunnersville with Only Yesterday, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
68-year-old Mrs. Aileen Howard and her 69-year-old sister, Miss Catherine Corley, spend a lot of time just watching cars go by. Miss Howard and Miss Corley of Albertville are salespeople waiting on that all-important customer. And with their roadside display of handmade quilts, the two sisters stay ready to make a deal.
How many hours did it take you to make it?
3 years.
3 years. Well, you wouldn't be getting rich at that, would
No,
you?
no 3 years.
Well,
they come up here and they look at them. If they like them, they want to buy them. If they don't like them, they won't buy them.
Well, are you a good salesman?
Sometimes. Sometimes I sell one and it just thrills me real good that I do.
What's the hardest part about selling one of these quilts?
Really, there's nothing hard about it. If they like it, they buy it, and if they don't, they don't.
So you just take your chances.
Right. Thank you, and you come back. Bye-bye.
There's no negotiating on the quilts made by Miss Howard and Miss Corley. There's no pressure either. The way they figure it, sooner or later, somebody's gonna want one.
According to Miss Howard and Miss Corley, they don't need a lot of sales training to sell their quilts. Their philosophy is quite simple. You either want it or you don't. And if you don't, they'd just soon stay in the car. In Gunnersville, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. I think I see a customer.
Viola Mae Conley, Mama Conley to most, has spent the best part of the past 25 years or so wearing out Singer sewing machines. Mama Conley takes in sewing just as long as it's not fancy sewing to earn a little extra income. It's $2 for a dress. And when she's not making a dress, she's quilting in the living room of her home in New Hope.
So you're pretty good seamstress.
Well, not no extra one. I can sew, though. I can sew, and I enjoy it, and I've sewed for a lot of people in these last 20 years.
You just can't get rich at it.
No, you can't get rich. But it helped. That little bit helps. A little bit helps, don't it?
Yeah.
If you get a little on the extra side, don't it help you?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir. Every little bit helps. Every little bit helps. Yes, sir.
Mama Conley, just last week, celebrated her 93rd birthday, and she still vividly recalls making shirts from fertilizer sacks and clothes for the kids from flour sacks.
Would anybody wear one out of a sack today?
No. Would you?
Would I?
And well, and the fertilizer sack you get now ain't like what we got then. You know, it's different. Then they got to put them in paper. I mean, now they're putting in paper. Then it was in cloth. It's cloth.
Mm-hmm.
Just ask daughter Gladys Cooper, no relation, about those flour sack panties.
She made me panties out of flour sacks, and they weren't comfortable, and she whipped me because I wouldn't wear them.
Panties out of flour sacks?
Right. Little figured flour sacks.
Panties?
Panties, yes, panties.
And you wouldn't wear them?
No. Because they weren't comfortable, and she whipped me because I wouldn't wear them.
Now, Mama Conley won't do none of that fancy sewing for you, but she will make you a good homemade quilt and probably even some flour sack panties, right?
Right.
You hope you got my size there. And you hope. I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. How do they wear, Gladys?
Rough.
Rough.
65-year-old Ruth Branham of Owens Crossroads has spent the biggest part of her life living in one of this area's most unique homes.
And it's comfortable here. It's warm in the winter and cool in the summer. Until it gets up about 95 degrees, I don't have an air condition. And then when it gets up that high, well, it's a little sticky then.
Miss Branham's home, built in 1914 for $1,800, was ordered and sold from a Sears and Roebuck catalog. The house, piece by piece, was shipped by rail from Chicago to Hobbs Island, and transferred by mule and wagon to its present location. Farrell Clark, who maintains the house for Miss Branham, says his dad helped construct the Sears mail-order house.
My dad told me before he passed away that the material was shipped from Southern Roebuck in Chicago to Hobbs Island, the station, and they hauled it in here with mules and wagons in sections.
Sears was in the mail-order home business for about 30 years. The most expensive house they sold was the Magnolia for $5,000. Sears financed most of the houses, and during the Depression they were forced to foreclose on many of them, and that put a stop to the Sears mail-order homes. But it didn't put a stop to Miss Branham shopping at Sears.
I told the salesman a lot of times, I'd say, I want to buy some weather beater for a Sears house, and they'd look at me funny, you know. And I'd tell them, I'd say, I mean it. I have a house that's built by Sears and Roebuck.
They don't give you the paint, do they?
No, no, they don't.
Obviously, Sears doesn't sell mail-ordered homes anymore. But I bet you if they did, one like this one would cost you a whole lot more than $1,800, though that might cover the cost of postage. You know, it's Crossroads. I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
12-year-old Brian Beasley could be just like any other kid his age, doing homework after school while watching a little TV. But Brian's a bit different for a 7th grader. When he gets in from school, he goes to work.
Brian's Pets, can I help you? We have it.
Brian Beasley is the owner of Brian's Pets in the Athens Town Square Shopping Center.
What's that? I'm sorry. What size aquarium is this one? It's a 42 hex. It's got a mirror in the back of it.
Business seems to run in the Beasley family. Brian's mother, Mott, and his brother, Brad, each have their own clothing store downtown. And according to them, Brian's a pretty good businessman himself.
He just wants to take care of everything himself, and he don't want any help from us at all. But he does have to take our advice sometimes.
Does he like making money?
He likes making money.
He's pretty good. He likes to keep things straight and away on his own. If anybody tries to help him, it's not something he agrees with. He really doesn't like it. He wants to be his idea or just be left alone.
Brian's been in the pet business about a year and a half. He's a full-fledged business owner.
So what do you read?
I read wrestling magazines.
Wrestling magazines? You don't read business magazines?
No.
A man like you?
No, I don't read none of that stuff.
Jay Hobbs is Brian's only employee, and he says it's not bad working for a younger boss, except the boss doesn't like snakes.
Does the owner ever handle the snake? No. He don't care for snakes. Brian may not yet be Donald Trump when it comes to running business, but he does like taking in the money. Is that right, Brian?
That's right.
How much is that snake?
125.
I don't believe it's alive. Catch it. In Athens at Brian's Pets, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Grab it!
Linda Wagner of Pulaski, Tennessee, is auctioning off something she loves Saturday. Miss Wagner, for the past 12 years, has been the owner of Tennessee's most famous farm, Milky Way.
There's a charisma about the Milky Way farm that people enjoy. There's a peace, there's a beautiful feeling here, and people come, and some don't want to leave.
Built in 1932 by Frank Mars, the man who gave us the Milky Way candy bar, the farm consisted of 2,700 acres of bluegrass farmland, numerous barns and stables that were second to none, and the manor house, the residence where the Mars family lived. Miss Wagner, who no longer lives in the mansion, still takes great pride in showing the 25,000 square foot home to potential buyers.
And then he built this magnificent house. Johnny, I want to show you all the way through it, but just look at the beams and the woodwork and the height of the living room, and then we'll go in the dining room in a minute, but the table is 21 by 13, bigger than most people's living rooms.
And these beams were chestnut.
They're chestnut, and you can't buy chestnut wood today. The
Mars mansion is not your average house. 21 bedrooms, 12 baths, plus the original dining table that's 21 foot by 13. At auction Saturday will be the house, 200 acres, 6 of the 32 barns that were once here, and 2 rock houses. As for Linda Wagoner, she'll maintain a smaller house, 32 acres, and the memories of owning the Milky Way farm.
The Milky Way farm in its day was one of the finest, most elaborate farms in the country, all made possible by a nickel candy bar, the Milky Way. Now they're 50 cents. At the Milky Way farm in Pulaski, Tennessee, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. A lot of candy bars to build this.
Nicholas and Frances Saletti are 2 people who are almost always on the go. Or better yet, their clocks are always ticking. 70-year-old Nicky Saletti takes great pride in his time-consuming cap collection. For the past 7 years, Saletti has been wearing and collecting caps that tell time. Why? Well, he likes the attention and he likes making new friends.
They look at my clock. They keep saying to me, "Hey, is that clock real?" I said, "Of course it's real." I said, "You see it running? Of course it's real." I make them laugh with it. Do I look like I'm a real guy? I'm a real guy. That's a real clock.
He made a lot of friends.
Yes, yeah,
all right, he made a lot of friends with this hat here. We came down here 10 years ago. I met.
After I bought the hat.
Yes,
I made more friends.
We made a lot of beautiful people down here. We go down to the Parkway City Mall every day. We take our walks, and we always meet somebody. Even the young girls will go, "Does that work? Does it work?"
Saletti wears his head ornament practically every day, except when it's raining, and that's not good for his battery. And he's not hard to spot, just look for the girls.
Oh, neat! Don't put this on camera.
I'll tell you, that's what the girls all say. That's what they all say.
Horseshoes, huh?
And it really tells the time.
What it does?
And it's accurate. What do you know?
Surprise!
Look at that.
See?
Mr. Saletti does admit that in all his years of wearing his clock cap, he's never seen another like it.
One thing you can say about Nicholas Saletti is he certainly knows how to use his head when it comes to getting attention and telling time. Let me borrow that dude. Look pretty good, don't it?
Yeah, it sure does.
In Huntsville, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. I think it's time for me to go and all the women like it on you.
Thank you.
$1 you take for it?
That's it. That's what I need out of her.
Does she ride good enough?
I ain't never rode.
Would she weigh 1,000 pounds?
She weigh 1,000.
B.R. Cash and Tex Donkey Dorset are a couple of guys who are part of a dying breed, horse traders.
I mean, she ain't worth much to us as far as riding.
62-year-old preacher Cash has been swapping mules and horses since he first started plowing gardens for 50 cents when he was 12. He's also been preaching for almost 30 years. And when he's not in church, he's training horses and mules, ones that he hopes will be sold or swapped on his farm in Aroney.
Well, I'm a preacher. Most horse traders are not preachers. And they, well, there's not many of them want to fool with them. It's kind of where it's work.
Preaching or dealing with horses?
Dealing with horses. Most of them don't want to preach either. People trust the preacher, you know, and you have to stay straight. It's kind of like they used to trade milk cows.
Get up, Mule.
A fellow lied about a milk cow. When a fellow went to milk it at night, they'd know right quick. He told a lie about it. So it's like these horses. If you tell a man a lie about a horse, quick as he rides it or works it, he'll find out that you lied to it. And then you won't stay in business. So you got to be honest with them and tell them the truth about them. If there's anything wrong with them, you need to let them know what it is.
Aboard his Flying Jenny, a homemade contraption designed to train mules to pull a wagon, preacher Cash claims he's almost in heaven. 26-year-old Donkey Dorset is more of a mule man than preacher, and his real claim to fame is he'll ride anything with hair on it.
Okay. He called me Donkey. That's all I raise is Jacks and Jennies. Fool with them.
And he calls you Donkey?
Yeah. Because I like donkeys. That's all I like. Donkeys and mules.
And you ride anything with hair on it?
Yes, sir.
The likes of a John Deere have, over the years, put most horse traders like Preacher and Donkey out of business.
The old-fashioned horse trader has almost become a thing of the past, but as long as Preacher Cash and his sidekick Donkey Dorset are around, there'll always be a horse or mule to trade. But they will need just a little boot. N.A. Roney with two old-fashioned mule traders. I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Boy, ain't this a pretty picture.
Yeah. Billy Ramsey, owner of Ramsey Amico in Huntsville, doesn't believe in traditional advertising, such as television, radio, or newspaper. But he does believe in having what's probably the biggest advertisement in town.
Well, how is it up there?
Well, a little nervous. Too far up.
Got a good view?
Yeah.
Is that the only elephant you ever been on?
It's the only one.
It's not a real live elephant, but close. They call him Jumbo, all 20 feet and $10,000 worth of him. And it seems kids are fascinated by him, and he brings in the business.
That's a big old elephant. Look at his feet. Look at that. You gonna touch it again?
I'm the only one that has an elephant.
And you think he's drawing in some business?
Yeah, he's bringing in the business.
Ramsey got the fiberglass Jumbo back in November. He's used him for decorating at Christmas and plans on using him every holiday. Employee Larry Cates admits Jumbo has been a drawing card, but he's also been shot.
Got him right here in the back. Got him twice right there and once up at the top.
Went what?
Went plumb through him.
Thinking why they shot him?
I don't know. Unless he was an Auburn fan.
Jumbo has his advantages. He doesn't eat like most elephants, he never moves, and best of all, you don't have to clean up after him. Besides, you can't help but see him.
Billy Ramsey plans on decorating Jumbo here for Valentine's Day. He also expects to keep him about another year, or as long as he keeps bringing in the business. In Huntsville with Jumbo, the fiberglass elephant, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
21.
The cash register doesn't ring as much as it used to, but it does ring enough to keep 86-year-old Doc Gray in business.
Oh, yeah, I like that music pretty good. That's what keeps me in business.
Doc Gray, owner of Gray & Holt on the Athens Courthouse Square, has been in business in the same location the past 55 years. There was a time when Gray & Holt was the place to shop. Times have changed and folks just don't flock in anymore to get their boots, overalls, hats, and long johns. Doc Gray says these days people are just too hard to please.
Hell, there's a lot of people that's like you. I bet you hard to please, ain't you?
Yes.
Well, I'm not. All my life, you just give me two things and I'm satisfied with. That's whiskey and women. They didn't have the golf. I never picked up a damn golf stick in my life. I don't know what a country club is or nothing. All you do my life, you just give me whiskey and women, and they have all the other entertainment they want.
Prentice Davis and Esther Shields are Doc's sales staff, and to hear Miss Shields tell it, there ain't nobody any better than Doc Gray.
Well, you can't beat him. He's fine as they make 'em. He's a good person to work for and a perfect gentleman. Never did see a crooked ought out of him the 28 years I've been here.
Doc, the 10th of 11 kids, was supposed to be a doctor. Well, that's where he got his name. Instead, he became a salesman, and a good one at that.
Doc Gray don't do no advertising, don't own no phone, and doesn't believe in credit. And if he had to do it all over again, he'd only change two things. He'd drink more whiskey and date more women. Is that right?
That's right. That's exactly right.
In Athens with Doc Gray, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
And I was born on Elkmont Route 2.
Elkmont Route 2 for all you single women. Now, what are you going to do if a bunch of women call you?
Well, then I can talk to them. I hadn't lost my voice, but everything but my voice is lost.
77-year-old Ted Maples is hoping for a blizzard this weekend. That way he figures to sell a right smart of wood. Maples at his wood stand on Hobbs Island Road in Madison County says wood sales to this point have been dead.
It's just like a casket business. If a man don't need a casket, you can't give him one. And if a man don't need a load of wood, you can't give him a stick of wood.
Well, weather just messed you up, hadn't it?
Slowed me down.
Maples, who's been in the wood selling business half his life, right now has some 80 ricks of oak and hickory for $35 a load, ready to burn. But in the meantime, it's whittling and dipping that occupies time.
You like that snuff?
I love it.
Kind of messy though, isn't it?
Oh, hell, that's the reason I love it. It's messy. Filthy, but I still love it.
Good on your teeth too, isn't it?
Oh, yeah. Good on your clothes. I've quit highs 5 times a day. Be going down the road and to spit on my shirt sleeve and throw my snuff away and then buy me some more.
Maples expects to sell out this weekend. And then come summer, he sells watermelons, and he hopes it's hot. Well, if Gary's right in the cold forecast for this weekend, of course, as he usually is, then Ted Maples here will probably do a pretty good business. But don't worry, just in case he doesn't, because he'll still be up to snuff. In Elan, I think you got it on your shirt sleeve. I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper.
On the bridge.
The line's freezing up here, too.
Your eyes on your reel freeze up. Have to keep shaking them.
Ronnie Flakes and Byron Poole were two guys yesterday who were just taking advantage of a day off, thanks to the icy conditions. Flakes and Poole were fishing for striped bass at Ditto Landing on the Tennessee River. Flakes, a school teacher at Davis Hills in Huntsville, and Poole, employed by the State Mental Health Department in Decatur, were certainly making the most of a very cold day off, at least according to them.
School's out today. No school. Just having an enjoyable morning.
Yeah, but ain't it kind of cold out here?
Well, not when you get around that fire. Get warmed up, come back out, fish a little bit.
Well, doesn't it help when you're catching something?
Helps a whole lot when you catch something.
Some people would say you were crazy. We creep down the parkway at 10 miles per hour this morning at 8 o'clock. You know, risk of life to get down here and fish, man. You know, those bridges are pretty dangerous at 8 o'clock. Well, you know, thanks to Dr. Kayla, I get a chance to come fish today instead of teach school.
So does the cold doesn't bother you?
No, man, I think the coldest day out here is better than the warmest day sitting in a classroom, honestly.
Though the two did have a fire, it was still a bit on the chilly side on the banks of the Tennessee River. But that didn't seem to bother these two, who pride themselves on being fishermen.
If Ronnie Flakes and Byron Poole could get their way, they'd fish every day and hope the temperature would get way below zero. A little ice would help too, because that way there'd be no school. On the Tennessee River, Ditto Landing, I'm your country rover, Jamie Cooper. Think the fire's going out.
You later, Jamie. Have a good one.
Be nice if y'all could catch one.